Welcome to Samuels.here channel. Kevin Samuels was truly a truth seeker, and after many years of educating both men and women of all races, but particularly those of African descent, in the art of navigating the ever-complex dating world, he was sadly ripped from our lives as he was called back home to the Almighty in 2022. Some of us, myself included, instinctively recognized the truth of his message. Many found his message rather unpalatable. I am hoping with this channel to make his message that little bit more digestible in a more feminine and softer manner. I hope this helps my sisters in the Black community who saw him as an enemy. Being Black myself, I hope I can bridge that gap. And oh, by the way, my father was also called Samuel, so in a twist of fate, I pay tribute with this channel to my father, who is also where Kevin has gone. I love how the Icelandic have a way of acknowledging someone's daughter in the same way as someone's son. So I appropriate the Icelandic way to find a suitable name for my channel, Samuels.here, Samuel's daughter. Enjoy the video. What would Kevin Samuels think of Meghan Markle? Aligning myself with Kevin Samuels' thinking, I would have to say that he would be initially satisfied with her. Note the word initially. Now, obviously, Meghan Markle was on the scene long before Kevin passed, but I'm not aware of him publicly commenting on her. Please do correct me if I am wrong on this. But seriously, I'm curious as to what he would think of her. On the surface of it, Meghan Markle is actually a success story, right? She is an absolute winner in the dating market. She got a high-value man, which is what Kevin, in his uniquely acidic way, tried to get women of all races to aspire to, even though there isn't enough of these high-value men to go around. But at least for all women, particularly Black women, to get the best good enough man that she can get. So if we look at things this way, I think he would be proud of Meghan Markle. She has what, at least on the surface of it, most men would want in a wife, right? She's attractive, thin, intelligent. She grew up with her father for much, if not all of her youth. And at least we hope in the early stages of dating Prince Harry that she was also sweet-natured and feminine, even though she spouted some rather feminist dogma all over the place. But so what? A woman of her attractiveness could perhaps get away with a lot more murder than an ugly hood rat with 3 kids from 3 different fathers, right? And yes, I have a niggling feeling that Kevin's thoughts about Meghan Markle wouldn't stop there. See, the thing about Kevin Samuels was that as much as he went on and on about getting to the finish line, which is marriage, as opposed to thinking a relationship, even an engagement or a situationship was enough, even marriage to him was not enough. He demanded more of women. It wasn't just about getting to the altar. He spoke real talk to a lot of divorcees who called his show. His message to them was, okay, so we married you, now what? Where is our payoff for marrying you? And when a sister came on his show denigrating her now ex-husband, he went all guns blazing on her. Because, in fact, as it turns out, these women were almost always leaving good men behind in search of puff smoke men who, in fact, were only a fiction of their imaginations, sadly. So-called post-marriage dating quickly showed them that Mr. Boring at home was so much higher quality than the Pookies and Ray Rays out there that they thought were exciting and sexy. Sure, they're exciting and sexy, yes, but sadly, with not much substance behind the facade. That's the reality. He did have some sympathy for the women who had had unfortunate encounters with men that had cheated on them, but his stance was still, you were better off with that man, father of your children, than a new man who doesn't and can't care for you as much as even the cheater did. I'm not sure about that one. I don't know about that. I think infidelity is a tough one to deal with, even for women. And for sure, I definitely understand that it is virtually impossible for a man to forgive, given the biological risk he faces, meaning his so-called progeny not actually carrying his genes in the event of infidelity. I mean, the risk is very high, isn't it? This, of course, is not on the list of unfortunate consequences when a man cheats. What the risk is for a woman who is the victim of a cheating man, of course, is that the resources are obviously diverted away from her progeny to another woman's progeny. So, well, from a woman's point of view, that's a serious risk. But anyway, I digress. What would Kevin think of Meghan Markle as the wife of a so-called high-value man? I think his initial thoughts of congratulations, you got to your goal, will quickly diminish as he ponders the devastating fall from grace marriage to this woman has cost Prince Harry. His problem with her would be, did she get on his program? Or did he allow himself to get on her program? I think we can all surmise that the latter happened. But then I think a funny twist of events will kick in. I think Kevin would shift his focus from Meghan Markle to Prince Harry. I think he would question if Prince Harry was a high-value man at all. High value is not only about money. He often preached to men, it's not about your job, your status, your standing in society. It's not about in what esteem the world holds you. It's all of the above and then some. It's about what you think of yourself at the end of the day. If you as a man are so weak-minded that you let a cable actress divorced to boot rule you so publicly as Meghan Markle does Prince Harry, so much so that she's able to nose drag him from his home, his family, his culture, his heritage, his friends, his queen and country to the other side of the world, where he's reduced to some rent-a-royal sidekick just to survive for money, then maybe he's not a high-value man to begin with. This high-value man was simply an illusion created by his prominent family's PR machine, and his wife's maneuverings only served to expose this fact. You know, we sometimes forget that inasmuch as Kevin Samuels was a vocal critic of women he deemed to be doing things wrong, he was an even harsher critic of men who were failing to reach the high-value mindset he wished them to aspire to. Maybe Kevin would say of Prince Harry, you needed this broad to take you through the ringer, to wake your ass up, to teach you basic life lessons, like blood is thicker than water, and no woman is worth this level of public self-humiliation. For God's sake, pull yourself up. Maybe he would say to Prince Harry, when your grandfather tells you that you may step out with an actress, but for goodness sake, don't marry her. And when your brother asks you to slow down, take a step back, take a breath before rushing into marriage with a relatively unknown woman, and he himself has demonstrated this advice to you in his own life by making his own bride wait almost 10 years for the ultimate prize, marriage to him, you should maybe listen to these brothers. Just maybe they know what they're talking about. If for nothing, these two brothers turned out to have wives who have stood the test of time with them, one for 73 good years, until death. Until death did them part. And the other one, 13 years and counting. Maybe Kevin would frown at the Machiavellian tactics that Meghan Markle used to secure Prince Harry. The channeling of his dead mother, the perfume trick, if rumors are to be believed, the race card, maybe even a baby trap. But I think he would call out Prince Harry out even more for failing to spot these age-old tricks, for falling for these tricks, for these ruses. Maybe he would be appalled that a woman of such average beginnings would have managed to get to such lofty heights as Prince Harry, but he would be equally appalled that the prince did not do his homework and meet her father, interview her ex-husband, and try to contact her siblings and friends, because all these people would have had a tale or two to spill on Duchess Darling before the marriage. I think, to be fair, Kevin would say of Ms Markle, as long as she sticks to Prince Harry and not divorce him and take him to the cleaners as the sisterhood is wont to do, then whatever anyone thinks of her, she's an average woman who made it to the top of the dating market and landed a man at a higher level than she was at. If he is happy with where he is with her, then who are we to judge? French toast everything else and leave them to it. As long as she remains his wife, no problem. Maybe in the event of her trying on the usual, I was a victim of this marriage and I was trapped, male cow digestive outflow, then the focus on her would begin, and she then becomes the cautionary tale that all men should be aware of. Sadly, too late for the prince that should have maybe remained a frog. Those are my thoughts on what Kevin Markle would make of Kevin Samuels would have made of Meghan Markle if he were alive today, and seeing what we are all seeing of this woman in her interaction with Prince Harry. Do you perhaps have opposing thoughts on what Kevin Samuels would have made of Meghan Markle? Let's hear them in the comment section, please. Let's debate. Thank you for listening so far to the end. Wishing you all good things. Farewell.